All right, so are you ready to like travel through time? Because today we're going deep into Athens, a city where ancient myths like literally mingle with modern marvels.
Sounds fascinating.
It is. We've got these excerpts from a book about ancient Athens and a lesson plan all about ancient Greek civilization.
Yeah.
You shared those with us. And so, yeah, get ready for this journey through time, I guess you could say.
Looking forward to it.
We'll be uncovering fascinating historical facts, exploring those architectural wonders,
Yeah.
the ones, and maybe even picking up some travel tips along the way.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so first, let's set the scene way back in ancient Athens.
Okay.
The book mentions this really interesting detail about the city's geography.
Oh, yeah.
Just imagine a city built on a plain, but with these like prominent hills rising to the south and the west.
It's not just a pretty backdrop, though. I mean, these hills actually played like a vital role in shaping early Athenian life.
Really?
What's so fascinating is that there are all these ancient houses carved right into the rock of these hills.
Like cave dwellings.
Exactly. But these weren't just, rudimentary shelters. They were carved with purpose and design, predating any standing Athenian structure we see today.
Wow.
It really speaks to the ingenuity and resourcefulness of those early Athenians adapting to their environment in this unique way.
That makes you wonder, right? What was it like to live in a house carved into a hillside?
I know, it's amazing.
Speaking of those hills, the book also mentions some intriguing customs regarding tombs.
Yes, Athenian tradition actually dictated that tombs couldn't be located within the city walls, separating the realms of the living and the dead.
Interesting.
And in Athens, the separation takes on a very specific geographic dimension, pushing those final resting places out to the periphery.
Oh.
It makes you think about their beliefs and rituals surrounding death and how they viewed the landscape itself.
Yeah, it's like the very landscape was woven into their understanding of life's journey.
Right.
Okay, so we've got our geographical setting, but what about the people, the stories? Let's dive into those legends and lore that breathed life into ancient Athens.
The foundation myths. It's like trying to piece together a puzzle with missing pieces, especially the prehistoric period before written records.
Yeah, we don't have a lot to go on, do we?
We have to rely on poems like Thesis and historical accounts called Athens to give us a glimpse into those early days.
So we're talking about heroes like Theseus, right? Their stories might be embellished, but they give us a sense of how Athenian identity was shaped.
Precisely. And one of the most famous myths, of course, is the contest between Athena and Poseidon for patronage of the city.
Ah, yes, the classic showdown.
Imagine the scene. Poseidon, god of the sea, strikes the earth with his trident, creating a saltwater spring, a symbol of his maritime might.
But Athena, ever the strategist, gifts the city an olive tree, a symbol of peace, prosperity, and sustenance.
Exact.
I can see why the Athenians, practical as they were, saw the long-term value in Athena's offering.
It's fascinating how this myth reflects their values, isn't it? Practicality, long-term vision, and perhaps even a preference for peaceful solutions over brute force.
Definitely. And of course, that's how Athens got its name, a tribute to the goddess of wisdom. But I find it interesting that even though Athena won, they didn't completely erase Poseidon from their culture.
Exactly. The Erechtheum, a temple built on the Acropolis, was dedicated to both deities.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
What's intriguing here is that this dual dedication might have been a way to appease Poseidon after his loss, or perhaps a way to acknowledge the importance of both wisdom and strength agriculture and the sea in Athenian life.
Interesting.
It shows a nuanced understanding of the world, wouldn't you say?
Totally. They recognized that different forces were needed to thrive, and it all started with King Cecrops, potentially the first king of Athens, judging Athena's gift as more valuable, solidifying her place in their history.
It's a foundational story, for sure.
Okay, so we've got our city, named our patron goddess chosen,
Well,
but where did the everyday hustle and bustle of Athenian life take place?
we're about to step into the heart of it all. The Agora.
The Agora.
It wasn't just a marketplace. It was a vibrant hub where commerce, politics, and social life intertwined. It evolved over time, but its importance as a center of Athenian activity remained constant.
It's like a combination of a farmer's market, a town square, and a political forum, all rolled into one.
Exactly.
I can almost hear the chatter of merchants, debates of philosophers, and the laughter of children playing.
And it's here that we see the Athenian love for art and performance taking shape.
Oh, really?
The book mentions that before the grand stone theaters were built, there was a simple wooden theater where Athenians gathered for entertainment.
Like a prototype.
Almost like a prototype for the architectural marvels that would follow.
It's amazing to think about those early gatherings, the shared experience of storytelling and performance, right there in the heart of the city.
And that interest only intensified soon. They built the Odeum, a structure specifically designed for musical performances and recitations. Imagine the sound of lyres and poetry echoing through the air, captivating Athenian audiences.
I can only imagine.
And then there's the Panathenaic Stadium, a marvel of ancient engineering, capable of holding tens of thousands of spectators.
The book mentions it was built almost entirely of marble. It's hard to fathom the scale and craftsmanship involved in creating such a structure. It makes our modern stadiums look almost insignificant in comparison.
It really was a statement of Athenian ambition and their desire to create spaces that inspired awe and wonder. But their ambition wasn't limited to architecture. They also revolutionized the way societies were governed.
Oh, right.
Let's talk about the rise of democracy in Athens, a concept that continues to shape our world today.
Okay, this is where things get really interesting. I know it wasn't a smooth transition, right? From kings and nobles to a system where citizens had a direct say in their government.
You're absolutely right. It was a gradual process with fits and starts along the way. And as our lesson plan points out, initially, citizenship was a very exclusive club. Only men born in Athens who possessed a certain level of wealth were granted this privilege. So while it was a radical concept for its time, it's important to remember that Athenian democracy had its limitations.
That's a good reminder that even revolutionary ideas have their flaws, and that the struggle for true equality is an ongoing process, but still the very concept of an assembly, a gathering of Athenian citizens where laws were debated and created is mind-blowing for its time.
Absolutely. It was a bold experiment in collective decision-making, and while it wasn't perfect, it laid the foundation for the democratic principles that we still strive for today.
So from rocky dwellings on the hillsides, the grand theaters, and the echoes of democratic debate in the agora, we've witnessed the birth of a civilization that continues to inspire and challenge us.
Right.
But our journey isn't over yet.
Oh, there's more.
We're about to step out of the ancient world and into the modern metropolis. Are you ready to explore the Athens of today?
Let's do it. I'm ready to see how it all connects.
Let's make the jump and see how Athens balances its incredible history with the demands of 21st century life.
Okay. Welcome back to our Athenian adventure. So as promised, we're like leaping forward in time, to explore the city as it exists today. What's remarkable is how seamlessly modern Athens blends with its ancient roots. It's not about hiding the past, but rather like weaving it into the fabric of everyday life.
So it's true what they say, you can practically stumble upon ancient ruins while sipping your morning coffee.
Absolutely. Imagine walking down a bustling street lined with like modern shops and cafes, and suddenly you're face to face with the remnants of the Roman agora or the towering columns of the Temple of Olympian Zeus.
Wow.
It's a truly unique urban experience where the past is constantly peeking through the cracks of the present.
That must be incredible to see in person. It's like layers upon layers of history all in one place.
Exactly. And that juxtaposition invites us to connect, to bridge that gap between the past and present. It makes you wonder about the people who walked those same streets centuries ago, the lives they lived, the stories they told. And in a way, it allows us to see ourselves as part of a larger historical narrative.
Speaking of connecting the past and present, let's talk about something that truly embodies that spirit. The Olympic Games, an ancient tradition that was reborn right here in Athens and continues to unite people from all corners of the globe.
The Games, a celebration of athleticism, competition, and that elusive spirit of human excellence. It's fascinating to think that the modern Olympic Games, revived in the late 19th century, are a direct homage to that ancient tradition.
It's like a thread connecting us across millennia, reminding us of the enduring power of sport to bring people together. It's interesting, though, how did they even transition from the limited citizenship of ancient Athens to the more inclusive ideal of the modern Olympics?
That's a great question and speaks to how those ancient Athenian ideals, while flawed in their initial implementation, laid the groundwork for the evolution of democratic principles, the idea of citizen participation, of striving for a more inclusive society. Those seeds were planted in ancient Athens and continue to grow and evolve today.
So Athenian democracy, despite its limitations, might be considered a catalyst for change, prompting us to constantly strive for greater inclusivity.
Precisely. It's a reminder that even the greatest civilizations are not static. They evolve, they adapt, and sometimes they even reinvent themselves. And that's what's so captivating about Athens. It's a city that embraces both its storied past and its dynamic present.
Okay, we've covered so much ground already, from the geography of ancient Athens to the bustling agora, the rise of democracy, and now the modern city and its Olympic legacy. It's incredible how much history is packed into this one place.
It is truly remarkable, and yet we've only scratched the surface. There are countless layers to uncover stories waiting to be told.
And as we delve into the depths of Athenian history, it's crucial to remember that those ancient echoes have relevance for us today. They offer insights, lessons, and perhaps even warnings.
Indeed, for one, Athenian history reminds us that even the greatest civilizations are not immune to change, to rise and fall. It's a humbling thought, isn't it, that even a city as powerful and influential as Athens could eventually succumb to external pressures and internal strife.
But doesn't that also offer a sense of hope that from the ashes of one era, new possibilities can emerge? That the most enduring legacies are not grand monuments, but the ideas and values that continue to shape human thought and action?
You're absolutely right. And that brings us to a crucial question for our listeners to ponder. Considering how Athenian democracy evolved from its early limitations, how can we ensure that modern democracies continue to strive for greater inclusivity and representation?
That's a powerful question. It challenges us to not just admire the achievements of the past, but to use them as a springboard for progress in the present, to learn from the past, not be bound by it.
Well said, but to truly understand Athenian democracy, we need to understand the ancient city in even greater detail. Thankfully, our sources provide a unique perspective, a virtual tour guided by the observations of an ancient traveler ready to walk in the footsteps of Pausanias.
Let's do it. I'm curious to see what he noticed, what caught his eye, and how it can help us understand Athens in a new light. Okay, so we're about to embark on this virtual tour of Athens, guided by the observations of Pausanias, this ancient traveler.
It's pretty cool.
It's like having a first-hand account, a glimpse into how the city was experienced centuries ago. What's interesting is that he doesn't start his journey at the Acropolis or the Agora, as you might expect.
That's right. Pausanias begins his exploration at one of Athens's three ports, Munichia, but he doesn't linger there.
He doesn't.
It's more of a quick stop before moving on to Phalerum, a place that might surprise you.
Why Phalerum? Wasn't it like a fading port by Pausanias' time? What could have drawn him there?
That's the intriguing part. Most visitors would head straight for the, iconic landmarks, but Pausanias seems drawn to the less traveled paths.
Interesting.
In Phalerum, he notes a temple dedicated to the Olympian Zeus, a reminder of the city's deep connection to the gods, even in a place that was losing its prominence.
It's like he's seeking out those subtle hints of history, the layers that might be overlooked by the casual observer.
Right.
And from Phalerum, he moves on to Piraeus, a port that was rapidly becoming the gateway to Athens.
Ah, Piraeus. This was a bustling hub of activity, a testament to Athens' maritime might. Pausanias describes its three harbors, its shipyards filled with the sounds of construction, and even a theater where sailors and merchants might have sought entertainment after long voyages.
It paints a vivid picture of Athens as a naval power, a force to be reckoned with in the ancient world.
For sure.
But our ancient tour guide doesn't stop at the port. He takes us on this journey along the road, leading from Piraeus to Athens, pointing out all sorts of structures along the way.
And each stop reveals another layer of Athenian life. There's a temple dedicated to Demeter, goddess of agriculture, highlighting the importance of the harvest to their society. He also describes these grand porticos-covered walkways, adorned with paintings and sculptures, showcasing the Athenian love for art and public display.
So it's like art wasn't confined to private collections or temples. It was integrated into the very fabric of the city.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. It suggests a society that valued beauty and creativity, making it accessible to everyone. And of course, Pausanias brings us to the heart of it all, the Agora. But he's not talking about the Roman Agora that we often picture.
Right.
He's describing the Ceramicus, a sprawling marketplace that predates the more famous one.
Ceramicus was the original heart of Athenian commerce and social life. Pausanias goes into great detail describing specific structures like the Stoa Basilius, where the king would hold court, and the Temple of Zeus Eleutherius, dedicated to the god of freedom and liberation.
Wow.
These details might seem small, but they offer incredible insights into Athenian society.
For example, he mentions a temple to Apollo Pastrus, the ancestral god of the Ionian people. It's like a subtle reminder of the deep roots of Athenian identity, their connection to a broader cultural heritage. And then there's the Metrocophrum, a sanctuary dedicated to the mother goddess Rhea. Every building, every monument tells a story, adding another layer to our understanding.
What makes Pausanias such a valuable guide is that he doesn't just list what he sees. He offers context, connecting his observations to history, mythology, and the social fabric of Athenian society.
It's like having a personal tutor whispering secrets from the past.
I like that.
So we've explored Athens from its geographical origins to its legendary beginnings, witnessed the rise of democracy and its complexities, and even traveled through its bustling streets with an ancient guide. It's been quite a journey.
It has. And I think the key takeaway is that Athens isn't just a place frozen in time. It's a living, breathing city with a story that continues to unfold. By immersing ourselves in its past, we gain a deeper appreciation for its present and maybe even a glimpse into its future.
And to our listeners, we encourage you to continue exploring. Let your curiosity be your guide, whether you're planning a trip to Athens or simply diving into its history from afar. There's always something new to discover.
So embrace the spirit of discovery and let the wonders of Athens inspire you. Until next time, happy deep diving.